right? But there is a lot of issues. In fact, this is one of the purposes for Altium Live Connect, is to connect our design audience with manufacturers so that they can start this communication, so that no ugly babies get created.
You know as well as I do that us old school designers, we know how to design circuit boards. The guys that are doing it these days, they're engineers that have never designed a circuit board. So they have to depend on the tools to help them do what us guys used to do because we're just artistic.
Another good reason for Altium Live Connect. It's a matter of bringing our emerging engineers. We have the tidal wave of emerging engineers coming out of the schools. We just met one this morning after the keynote, and these are the folks that they're quick studies, right? They can learn software and the layout tools really fast. Yes. But like a kid running with scissors, the potential for injury or injuring somebody upstream with a poor design.
Kelly, you know as well as I do, if you don't know anything about the fabrication process or anything about the assembly process, then what good are you? You have to understand the whole process in order to design a board correctly.
Yeah, it's no longer can we design in a vacuum, especially now. We've said that the term DFM has been around for years and years and years.
Are here to find your defects.
Yeah. So what do you think about technology and the way it's going? Because I'm sure you're seeing customers that are bringing you challenges. I mean, it's the next level, the next dense package that you've got to put on. Either you're going to figure out if you're going to tool up for it or deal with it some other way. What do you think about what's coming and what the designers will have to do in order to incorporate? Hi, Kelly Dack from the show floor live. Hey, we thought we'd come back to you just one more time from the IPC Apex show floor. And as you can see, if I can borrow a term from a well-known TV show, and just like that, the show's over. But stay tuned, because Altium Live Connect 2022 is not over. We're going through today with lots of great information, good presentations, and tomorrow for the third day of Altium Live. So we want to make sure you stay tuned into our Zettel site for that. With me is Mr. Nolan Johnson. We've hung out throughout the week. What are some parting thoughts? And may I introduce you from iConnect. iConnect has been so supportive in helping us have a place a footprint to sit on throughout the show, and has been really a good partner for Altium Live. So Nolan, tell us your reactions.
Well, first of all, we love working with Altium Live and bringing the information and the news. Altium is a continued innovator in the PCB design space. Everything else that's at this show is downstream from that and depends upon what happens with Altium and design tools in general. So as Altium continues to do what they do to move design forward, we all benefit in the long run. The show's been great. Designers really should know that there's a lot going on in this industry with materials and design constraints and new additive fabrication processes. All of this new technology that's showing up here in fabrication and assembly that the designers can take advantage of. That means that there's a lot of space to build your skills, try some new techniques, use some new methods to get the design constraints handled that you need to handle.
Yeah, it's really this whole experience is really demonstrates this. There is a symbiotic relationship between all of the media companies and people. There's just a wave of trying to get the word out of how important these stakeholders to the industry are, and I guess we're even going to consider right now the trade show industry and how they become stakeholders of the PC design industry as they help break us down and get ready for the next event. But it's just been a pleasure being here, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's so good to be back to working face to face with people again.
Well, we certainly appreciate all of your help and everything you do, Nolan. You sent out some announcements for the event, and again, we want to emphasize that Altium Live is continuing throughout this afternoon and tomorrow. We're certainly not going to say goodbye, and we don't exactly know quite when I'll be back because there's no more show floor, but I'm sure I will somehow. So for today, at least for right now, we'll be signing off for this segment, and we want to make sure that you know that we're on the rest of the day and tomorrow. So from the show floor, IBC Apex Expo, this is Kelly Dack for Altium Live Connect 2022. It's been a pleasure being your host.
Well, gotta act fast, sign up for the broadcast of the Altium Live 3-day show. Okay. There'll be keynote speakers, events for tech seekers. I'm your host and I'm ready to go. Entertainment. This event will be hip. We're in partnership with the folks from the IPC. Stakeholders unite and we'll feel alright, digging multi-show synergy. So let's all connect. Come on, people, let's reflect on the meaning of digital transcendence. Catching how design and manufacturing combine. Check us out. Virtual attendance. Yeah.
DFM. In fact, let me make my question crystal clear. Is there coming a point where design for manufacturing has been so almost outdated and we're going to have to start designing with manufacturing?
I think that is a great way to look at it. And yes, because, you know, if you're the type of company that just finds the cheapest guy to do the board because you're trying to save a few bucks here, yeah, maybe that's not your best bet. You know, you got to work with your partners and get to where they understand what you're doing and you understand what they're doing, and it's going to help you design, and it's going to help them manufacture, right? So it's a collaborative process, and that's the way it should be. Even your fab guys, don't just throw it to the cheapest guy because that may not be your best guy.
Well, I'm learning a lot. You know, in the last 6 years, I've gone to work. I've gone to work for a bare board supplier, a well-known prototype supplier. And then moved on to an EMS provider in Pacific Northwest. And this is where my eyes were opened because I started seeing board designs coming in from all parts of the world. And we were having problems with them. We have to, part of the job is to pre-engineer them or digest the design and evaluate it for not only for our assembly line, but for our bare board manufacturers. Where are we going to send this board to be manufactured? And at that point, it's disconnected from the designer. We have to find an assembly vendor who will fabricate it, or a fabrication vendor who will build it. And we get to the point where we send out for quotes, and guess where we go? We go to the cheapest for volume, because if you can save pennies, you can save millions on a design. So
True, but if conversely, if you have defects, then you're going to spend millions more.
But and it's presumed that we won't have defects. We get the boards quoted from the point of, yeah, without defects, please. We didn't sign anything that said you're going to ship them with defects. So here's the experience. Here's what I learned is we send out to 3 or 4 suppliers, and we get, they send us a quote. The lowest bidder wins it, you know, or whoever we have the best relationship with. And then 4 weeks later, we order zillions of them. And then is when the magic thing called an EQ, an engineering query, comes back from the supplier and says, oh, by the way, we can't do your 2.5 mil wide line in 2-ounce copper. Could you please switch it to, you know, they quoted it already.
Right.
So this is a big frustration that EMS suppliers have to deal with.
Yeah, and we usually have to take those EQs or TQs, whatever you want to call them, and work with the fabricator. It's not even our design. Yeah. And then sometimes we have to go back to the customer and say, you did this, you answer this. So, you know, there's no such thing as a perfect design, but I think if you work at it, you can get really close.
Right. And then, you know, to circle back to where we started the conversation is that, you know, that's where the response comes in. It says, well, our supplier before had no problem with it. And you ask, well, who did it? And it was a prototype supplier onshore who custom built the fabrication atom by atom, you know, so that they could get the clearances done.
Well, you know, sometimes if it's something very trivial, we'll take care of it ourselves. So they'll never know. It'll be transparent to them. But that's not always the case. So, you know, I guess to reiterate, you got to work with your relationship if you want to build a good product and build it consistently. So.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate the walk and talk with you. This has been fun. You know, it lets our audience see some of the things going on. Look, we got a robot going on here. There's so many robots. They're taking over.
Pretty good crowd here. Not exactly normal, but all things considered, it's pretty decent.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, we're going to give everybody a rest here. Charlie, elbow bump or whatever we're doing these days. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Zen Tech, Charlie Capers, you know, you can find him on LinkedIn and ask more questions. Also, don't want to forget that we have a Q&A section here on our website. Make sure if you've got any questions that you'd like me to answer or ask the experts for answers, write them down, send them in. We'll look forward to that. So until then, for our next segment, this is Kelly Dack for AltiumLive 2022 with Charlie Capers.
All right. Thanks, Kelly.
gotta act fast. Sign up for the broadcast of the AltiumLive 3-day show. Okay. There'll be keynote speakers, events for tech seekers. I'm your host and I'm ready to go. This event will be hip. We're in partnership with the folks from the IPC. Stakeholders unite and we'll feel alright, digging multi-show synergy. So let's all connect. Come on, people, let's reflect on the meaning of digital transcendence. Catching how design and manufacturing combine. Check us out. Virtual attendance. Yeah.
Hi, Kelly Dack, back to you live from the Apex show floor for AltiumLive Connect. Our cameraman Michael and I have been roaming the show floor in between breaks. We kind of set up a few people to talk to so that we can bring to you some interesting technology on the show floor. Let's go around the corner and see what we can do here. With us today is Takamiro Hara from Japan. Are you from Japan?
Yeah, from Japan.
Really?
Yes.
So tell us about your products here.
Okay, yeah. So our main product is a string gauge.
What is your company name, by the way? I'm not seeing it on the.
Yes, my company name is Kyowa.
Acura?
Yes, and I'm part of Seiko Machinery's booth.
Okay.
Who they are contractor in the western side of USA.
Okay, very interesting, and you caught our eye because, you know, designers, we need to get in touch with what else is going on in the industry once our boards are designed, and this caught our eye as interesting technology because once a circuit board is laid out, once it goes off to the bare board manufacturer and off to the assembler, there's plenty of stresses that can go on to a circuit board, and one of them is post-assembly handling or installation or automated handling can stress the boards. So tell us about board stress, some of the common stress modes, and how your products handle it, measure it, record it, document it.
Okay, yes. So our main product is a string gauge. So this is a string gauge, which is a very small and a compact size sensor. This is a very important part for deformation, compressive or expansion stresses happening on a PCB or any kind of material. So string gauge has been used for fatigue analysis and stress analysis of all industry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I see some of these strain gauges are already connected, and then they're providing data for your software here to show, explain this.
Yes. So this is a